Hey guys, it's Kate and I hope you're having a great day today. I wanted to do another watercolor tutorial with a side-by-side comparison of three different acrylic inks and how they blend or resist with watercolor. So I've had these brands of inks for a while and I just want to see how each of them behave on paper. So I'm working on New York Central 100% cotton paper today, and I'm going to do some quick washes and then check out how these go down. I'm going to use the same color for all of them. So I'm working with my Marie's Masters palette today, and I am going to dip into my phthalo blue and get some mixed up in my tray with my quill brush, and I'm going to work one by one with these paints. So first I'm going to do the PH Martins, and I'm just going to do kind of a quick wash on this page, not too wet, but wet enough so that that color can spread. So I'm going to set my brush to the side, and then I'm going to grab my little dropper. First I'm going to see how a drop goes in, and that looks really nice. And then I'm going to go in with a little bristle brush that I have, and it's a little bit moist. And I'm going to do some splashes on here, just like that. If I can learn to aim it right and not get it everywhere. All right. Okay, next up is the Amsterdam ink, and I don't have all the exact same color, but I'm using as similar as I can. So for the PH Martins, that is the brown ink. This one is going to be the burnt sienna in the Amsterdam brand, so it's brownish. Okay. I'm going to do one drop in there, and that has quite a bit more flow, it seems like. Let me grab my brush, give it a little dip. And that has some really incredible resist with that Amsterdam ink. And I love that sort of rusty color. Now, I may be a little bit biased because I think of the inks that I have, that burnt sienna from Amsterdam is just fantastic. This seems to kind of fade more into the paint and spread out, where this just really maintains its look so far. We'll see how it all dries. Okay. Last but not least, the Daler Rowney, and this is their sepia color. Let me just get a little bit more pigment on here. All right. All right. Now with the sepia. Okay. That one has a little bit of spread. It kind of has tendrils that come out. Let's see about the splashes. Nice. And I am hoping that I got enough color on this PH Martins. I'm going to grab another paper quickly and just make sure that that wasn't a fluke. Okay. Let me get some more color in my brush. I just want to make sure that that drop that I put in there actually had enough pigment in it compared to the others. So I'm just going to do a quick little spot of a wash and then come back in with this ink. Make sure I put a full drop on it. All right. that'll be just to make sure, because I feel like I didn't squeeze it enough to get a whole drop out. So, and this already looks a lot different. It has a much bigger spread. So we'll wait for these to dry, and in the meantime, I'm going to do a little bit of a painting to experiment, and probably I will use this combination because I think that's really gorgeous. So I am going to be right back. Okay, I am back, and I got a fresh piece of paper and my inks and my watercolor. So I'm going to come back in with my quill brush and just put some moisture down on the paper, and it's not going to be all over the place. I just want to add some color there. All right, so I'm going to first dip into my lemon yellow and mix that a little bit with some yellow ochre and kind of turn it a little bit more of a golden color. And I'm going to come in here and just drop some color in, just like this. And I'm going to kind of go around the page, and then I'm going to go in and grab some of my cadmium red and come in here with some of this orange, make it kind of sunny. I'm just sort of feeling the bright sort of summery colors right now. Adding some more water just to moisten this up. And maybe I'll go into some of this purple red. I'm kind of putting it next to this orange. That way I'm not mixing it with my yellow directly so that I don't get it to be muddy. So I'm just sort of going around, getting that good blend going, just like this. And I think that's a pretty good base. And I had gone in, well, I had my burnt sienna next to me, but I think I might actually choose a different color. And I've got this permanent red violet, so I think I'm gonna experiment with this one a little bit. It's still an Amsterdam ink, but different color. And I might just come in here and do some marks. And I just I really love that. It's so bright and just wonderful. Okay, maybe I'll go in a little bit with this burnt sienna and put in a couple little splashes like we did before. Whoops. I love that. It's super bright, but also pretty. And I've also got this P.H. Martin's white. I also have it in the Daler Rowney, but I'll use the P.H. Martin's that I have. And this is really wonderful. It just kind of sits right on top of any of your fluid watercolor, so it doesn't really spread like the other ones. Let me get another dropper full. You can really have some fun with marks. I'm just kind of dropping some dots outside in my little curvy areas that I did. We'll just do a whole little abstract. Now, some of my paper isn't very moist anymore, and some of it is wetter, so it's going to have a little bit of a different effect. And you can see it spreads, but it stays mostly opaque right where it is. And I love this white. And it adds that pop of brightness back into the painting. Okay. I'm going to let this one dry and we'll be right back. Okay, off camera, I put some of this Amsterdam burnt sienna ink right on the page and it's completely dry now. I wanted to show you what it might look like when you have a wash over ink. And so I'm going to dip into a dark color and a light color. So first I'm going to go for the brilliant purple, making a pretty strong mix. And I'm going to add just a little bit of water and put that over our ink so you can see how that looks. And it has a really nice glazing effect. You can still see that burnt sienna coming through, which is really nice. Next, I'm going to make another mixture with yellow. So we'll have one dark and one light color. Now with the yellow, and maybe with the purple too, if you had a close-up view, there's a little tiny bit of texture that you get from the paint, but it's not very pronounced, and actually it's pretty much faded away after I picked up the brush. But I'm going to give you a close-up of that so you can see how it looks. This is that second drop of the P.H. Martin, so I wanted to do it again because I thought it had kind of faded out so much. I maybe didn't use enough, but the P.H. Martins, at least the brown, really fades out quite a bit and just spreads into the surrounding paint. So I'm bringing in this finished piece so you can see the difference in how these inks dry. Now I tried to use similar colors and you may have different effects with different colors, but for the purposes of this video, so the Daler Rowney and the P.H. Martin's ink, they dried pretty matte. The Amsterdam actually has a very slight sheen, and I don't know if you'll be able to see that in the light, but it doesn't have quite as matte of a texture once it's dry. You can see how each one interacted with the watercolor paint. I'd say as far as dispersion and a bit of a granulating effect, I'd say Amsterdam and Daler Rowney are pretty similar, where the P.H. Martins really blended in. That said, here is our painting that dried. And so you can see this white here is also P.H. Martin's, and while it did spread, it stayed pretty much compact and close to itself. And this pink, I believe, is Amsterdam ink, and this had some spread to it, but I think this turned out really beautifully. You can also see the little splashes of the Amsterdam ink, that burnt sienna that I put in here. And this was a really cool little painting, I think. I should be able to use this in another project, but there's definitely some things to experiment with here. So all in all, I hope that this gave you some ideas and let you know how you can kind of use inks and watercolor together, either watercolor over inks as a wash or under inks or with inks with wet and wet or other techniques. So hope this gave you some ideas and hope you enjoyed the video, and try this yourself if you have some inks and watercolor at home. And thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep creating.